Greetings and welcome to Design Thinking for Big Project Initiatives. This effort is being sponsored by Marcus Evans. The course offerings will be held in Chicago in the near future. And I'm Captain Kevin Smith, U.S. Navy retired. Among other things, I guess you could say that I'm a big project design specialist. Also, I have spent quite a bit of time in my career in aviation, which over 50 years doing a lot of big project work. Now, we have a mission statement for this initiative. And it reads as follows, and I'm going to read it here. And you can follow it along on the screen here. The mission statement is to establish an intellectual partnership with business community as many enterprises transition from being a technology provider to a solutions provider. Such solution-based business models enabling the design of deliverables that are customer and solution focused are designed to be operationally and cost effective, employ user-friendly features across the board, are reliable when fielded, and above all, are resilient. So we're going to be addressing ourselves to design thinking, but design thinking in a particular way that's optimized for big projects. So design thinking, of course, is the way that we formalize the front-end design process, or another way of saying that is that we engage ourselves in pre-design activities. And that's particularly important, especially when we're dealing with things like big projects, complex projects, and stuff like that. And this is where we bring in a very essential ingredient into the design process, which is called often innovation and creativity. So this is kind of the place where it resides. And this is where we want it to emerge. And so we're more or less establishing the fertile ground, the mechanisms, the foundation by which we can achieve innovation and creativity in our efforts during the design process. Okay, big projects. What are big projects? Well, let's consider big project orientation. They're all large scale. Sometimes they're called large scale dynamic things. Means the same thing. Big mechanisms also is the term that they use. Means the same thing. And also I like big picture thinking. Big picture thinking brings us into the realm of big project design initiatives. What's an example of a big project? Commercial space operations is a great example. Kind of a big, huge project going on right now with many players. Another example of a big project is urban air mobility. That is a major effort going on within many industries. Another example of a big project is a new cargo airline that is called Prime Air. That's a major initiative going on within certain industries as we speak. All involves big picture thinking. Okay, but big picture thinking is a necessary ingredient for big project design initiatives. So what is big picture thinking? Big picture thinking considers things like full mission, the complete system, and it also employs higher order reasoning. So to think in big picture terms, we also have to evoke higher order reasoning. And we're going to be talking about that in some measure of detail, but because this is particularly important. We don't want to deal with this thing that we call big project initiatives at the low level or at the component level. We want to deal with this first and foremost at the systems level, or we want to maintain the big picture. Big picture thinking equals higher order reasoning. And we can reverse those and it doesn't matter. Basically, they mean the same thing. Big picture thinking leads us to higher order reasoning, which will allow us to achieve mission success. Higher order reasoning. We can talk about those. We'll discuss the specifics of that and how we can employ that to our benefit. But big picture thinking is, in fact, essential when we are dealing with complexity. When things are complex, it could be the system that we're dealing with, it could be the problem, it could be the environment, or all three. Complexity is a serious thing that we have to deal with, and we have to deal with it effectively. I will venture the point here that often things fail because we didn't consider those issues related to complexity. So we have to be able to deal with it. We have to get ourselves out of the quagmire of complexity if we're in it, and we have to deal with it effectively so that we can use complexity in a positive way and not hinder our performance. So, in summary, big picture thinking looks at the full mission, very important, looks at the complete system, considers complexity with respect to everything that we do, and addresses ourselves also to criticality and risk. So these big things, these big mechanisms, these complex systems or complex problems often deal with things that are mission critical. So we have to be able to address ourselves to that also. Big project design embraces design thinking. Big picture thinking, higher order reasoning, and it employs design analytics. Last but not least, we often suggest that organizations do deploy elite problem solvers, and we will be discussing that role of the elite problem solvers in this particular course. Okay, what will not work? Now, we know this, and so it shouldn't be a surprise. But let's look at the three top things that we should not be doing. One, we should not be considering things at the component level. We should avoid what I call component level orientation. That will not work for various reasons. We should reject the notion of ad hoc reasoning. Ad hoc reasoning will get us nowhere. It is the cause of much concern and the results in failures. The system will fail often because of ad hoc reasoning. And the other thing is this, there's an interesting quote. I don't actually have it up on the screen, but from J.W. Forster. He said that complex systems behave counterintuitively. That is, the plausible tends to be wrong. Plausible comes out of ad hoc reasoning. Something is plausible, but often it is not correct. It is wrong. And anecdotal evidence also will not work. And I know this is a surprise to many because we love to do customer surveys all the time. We love customer surveys. Often they will not work because they're anecdotal in the evidence that they present. And in these big projects that are complex, they will not give us any insight into what's going on or how to solve problems from anecdotal evidence. We actually have to produce evidence analytically, which we can do, but that is the purpose of this course. Design analytics. That is the purpose of this course. It's the heart and soul of this design effort that we are presenting that has been used successfully in big project design initiatives, and it works. We will be presenting design analytics in a way that all organizations can utilize and be confident that they will be able to achieve mission success. Design analytics supports this whole idea of big picture thinking, and it employs across the board, it employs higher order reasoning. So design analytics is not new. It was first presented to the industry at the Digital Avionics Systems Conference that occurred in 1988 in San Jose, California. So it's been around a while. Many organizations were not aware of it until recently because of lots of things that have converged. One, I think there's two things that I have noticed as part of the design community. Number one is that the customer seems to be dissatisfied often with what we have designed and delivered. And the second thing is that human-caused design errors have cost the industry an enormous amount of money. Recent studies have suggested that over the last 10 years, they have cost the industry unnecessarily $1.2 trillion. So those things have come together and are motivating us to consider a different design model, and the centerpiece of this design model that we are proposing is design analytics. The first large-scale system that we used design analytics on was the F-22 project, and I was on that as the member of the initial design team. And we use design analytics very successfully, by the way. So it can be done. That concludes my brief introduction into this two-day course that we are planning to offer the industry. Shortly, contact Marcus Evans for the specific details. Thank you for watching.